Hello and welcome back to another episode of Serie A Spotlight. We're your host Jake
And Matt.
and today we're joined by a very special guest, Anthony Locascio. Is that how you say it? I've already butchered
Got it in one. It's almost like we practiced.
No, we totally didn't. He is a Greek, Italian, Australian, up-and-coming comedian. Very good comedian.
Hilarious.
In my humble opinion. And he's also a patron of the show.
Juventus fan, which I won't share my opinion too much on that, Anthony, but I think since you're a listener that's been listening for a good season now, I think you know our opinions on Juventus.
Yep, and you know what? I kind of have the same opinions a lot of the time about Juventus, so I don't. You can't help what you're indoctrinated into from 3 years old. I was put in a Juventus shirt by my dad when I was 3, and it's kind of been that ever since. But I'm fully aware, and of late, it's getting harder and harder to be a Juventus fan.
Yeah, but there are still certain kind of themes around the club, right? With Fagioli, with Pogba, now Mason Greenwood would be getting into all these things.
I think I don't mean to go too somber too early in the podcast, but I think if they sign Mason Greenwood, that could be. I'm not going to say it's the end of my fandom because it's impossible. I have a giant Juventus tattoo, but
really, wait.
But I'm going to be very upset if they sign Mason Greenwood.
Yeah, I think that there were Milan links once upon a time. It was before he joined Getafe, I think, and no, I didn't like that one bit.
I can't understand the culture, to be honest. I can't understand how Fagioli is banned for an entire season. He gets called up to the national team after. You know, I don't get it. There seem to be no repercussions, like no consequences for your actions in Italy.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? Like not even just from a sporting perspective with Fagioli. You'd think the guy hasn't played at all season. Why would you put him in from a purely tactical point of view? But then, like you're saying, Jake, why? Like this guy doesn't deserve to be rewarded.
Yeah.
It's
and I think then there are players like Orsolini who had such a good campaign, and I know he's been known for being streaky before, but he's had 2 very consistent seasons in a row. He's being left out of the team. Locatelli is by no means a superstar, but he is the number 6 of Juventus, right? And he plays game in, game out. When he wasn't playing, and Cavaglia, whatever the fuck, Nicolucci, when he was playing, Juventus were struggling in that position. So how could you let Locatelli out of the team and you bring in a player that hasn't played a single game?
Spalletti has addressed this, and he said that he wants a highly technical starting 11, and he believes that Fagioli gives you that kind of technique offensively as a midfielder that no one else
but he might give away a corner in the 97th minute. Like
I'm sure he's learned his lesson.
I think it's bullshit. I think there's something else going on with Locatelli because first of all, Locatelli is extremely technically gifted. He hasn't been able to show it under Allegri because he's been given the role of the bulldog. He's been told, okay, you're going to be Gattuso 2.0 for me. But he's extremely technically gifted. And I think he's actually considerably underrated. He's one of my favorite players, Locatelli.
Okay.
I think he's been given the job, like the grunt work job for the last 3 seasons, because he's the only one that can do it. He's by far the best. He's by far the best midfielder at Juve. He's just got no one around that can do all of his skill set, and I think that Italy's going to really regret leaving him at home. I also feel really bad for Orsolini too, because when's he going to get another opportunity? Like now that Thiago Motta's gone from Bologna, I think it's safe to say Orsolini's days of being near the national team are pretty over, especially like now is the time for him with Berardi being injured. That right wing spot really could have been his.
Yeah. And El Shaarawy's been called up, man. That is something I can't quite wrap my head around, because he had when they switched to a 4-3-3, when De Rossi became the manager, he had 5 good games, 4 positive games, because it was a new lease of life having a quick winger back in the team. But other than that, he's been mid. he can do a good job when like under Mourinho, he used to play him as a striker, he used to play him as a left wing back, and he kind of he's a plug and play kind of player, so quite versatile in that sense. But not that you play him over Orsolini.
Yeah, that's it. I think just simply when you look at what they have to offer to give to the team, Orsolini has this flair about his game. He's got this fucking rocket in his pocket of a left foot that he has this dimension that El Shaarawy doesn't quite have. El Shaarawy is more like kind of solid at everything, not particularly great or outstanding at anything. I think, to be honest, it's simply because like he prioritized maybe experience, big games. El Shaarawy's
experience on the big stage.
Yeah.
Orsolini's only really played for Bologna. I don't think he's ever played in European competition.
He never quite cemented himself as a starter either.
A decent point might he be a bit similar to Politano when it comes to a play style, because he could look at having a more versatile squad in that sense.
Maybe that makes a lot of sense, and Politano I think is one of the most underrated players
definitely
in Serie A as well. So I think that's probably right, because he is very similar to Politano. He's just not as good as Politano. Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. I just like he's such a Southern Italian looking dude. I think he's Calabrese. He's just got a big Southern Italian nose. Yeah. He'd like to have a little bit more representation from the South. There's no
forehead sunburn.
Yeah.
Berardi's Calabrese as well, but he's obviously not in the team, so I don't think there's anyone else that's from the South. Wow. So he could have had
Donnarumma. Donnarumma is Neapolitan, no?
Yeah, maybe. I think so. Yeah, I just don't associate him with the South because he's so fucking tall.
Yeah, and he's such a cunt as well.
Yeah, you guys must not like him very much.
Yeah. By the way, you said Locatelli is one of your favorite players. This is a Milan kit I have from back in the day, and surely you remember this kit. And it's got Locatelli's name at the back. This was
number 73.
When he scored against you. When he scored against Juventus.
When he busted the net against Buffon. I remember.
That was so hype. I bought the kit immediately.
Yeah. He looks like a real world beater back then. But we'll see. Yeah. I just like that there's a Juventus player that has Loca at the start of their name. It's the simple pleasures in life.
Yeah. Crazy, tell me.
So we've totally gone off what we've planned.
We always do. Part of our brand at this point, man.
Reckless but effective. So. Anthony, you used to be a football coach.
Yes, I was. I was for a little while. So initially, I studied law when I finished school. I went into insolvency, which is bankruptcies and liquidations. And surprisingly, it's not the most fun industry to be in.
No way.
Yeah, it was real shock to me. Like when the first bankrupt woman threatens to kill herself on the phone to you, like you can understand it's exciting. But when the third and the fourth does it, you're like, all right, guys, get a new shtick. Come on, just get through the fourth.
Do it.
Exactly. So I wanted to do comedy my whole life, and I ran out of reasons to not try. I was 24 at the time, and I'm like, well, I don't have a family, I don't have a wife or a mortgage or anything like that at this point. Why not give it a try? I did both insolvency and comedy for about a year and a half, and then comedy was going well enough for me that I could just quit. But you can't just go full-time comedy. So I became a football coach. I had done a little bit of coaching when I first got out of school. I went back to my old school to coach. So I had a bit of experience. And so, I took some under 17s and under 15s teams. But it was hard. It was hard to not get so obsessed that you're like, you don't want to be thinking about 15-year-old boys at 1 o'clock in the morning when you can't.
Why?
What was
Your Honor, I was just talking about positions, all right? Just thinking about positions.
Well, I was saying you have to get in from behind and whoop one in.
Yes.
You have to cross the ball.
Exactly.
So from a scale of Motta to Ballardini, who were you as a manager, as a coach?
there were I hate to admit this, but I actually had a few Allegri taken off the like stripping your whole gear moments. I was throwing the jacket well before I saw him throw the jacket. I would get in trouble a lot for stepping onto the pitch. Like if the play was happening on the other side of the pitch to where my, coach's area was, I'm like 5 meters into the pitch. I'm like trying to get close and yelling at people to see what happens. No, I got way too into it, and I had to quit. I had to stop because I mean, thankfully, I had just done my first national tour for comedy, and I had enough juice that I didn't have to do that job anymore. But I was getting to a point where I was complaining that I wasn't like I should be the number one coach at this place.
Yeah,
My results speak for themselves, and I was like actively campaigning for a job that I barely get paid for, that no one really cares about, that I have no future prospects in this career, but I'm feeling this sense of injustice that I'm only coaching the B team.
Well, our father had something quite similar because he was the vice president of Mostar and of the Maltese national team
as well. I didn't know.
I don't know if it was vice president. I think so. I think so of the MFA, Malta Football Association, and he often complained that obviously it would take up like 60 hours a week at least, and that's to mention physically being in the job, but mentally you're there basically all week round. You'd be at your day job just dreaming about what formation you're gonna play tonight.
Like this podcast, man.
It's true.
So it's in my mind.
Literally.
What can we do?
Yep.
So your grandfather was a goalkeeper back in the day, and this is the man who your entire tour is based around, right?
Yep. So this year's tour is called Papu. That's about my maternal grandfather is my Greek grandfather. He was like one of the biggest goalkeeping prodigies in Greece in the 1950s. He had trialed with Olympiacos, and Olympiacos were looking to sign him, but he decided when he was 17 to immigrate to Australia. And he moved to Adelaide initially and was playing for the Greek side in Adelaide. When he got signed for them, they were in Division 3. 2 years later, they were in Division 1. They were challenging for the title, and they literally had not signed a single other new player in that period. So he was properly transformative for them. He was really, really good, and he was selected for what was the national team in 1959. And things were going really well until there was a game between the Greek team and the Italian team, and there was a riot because the referee made a bad call against the Italian team, which was called Adelaide Juventus. No relation. And some of these Italian guys tried to attack the referee, and my papu and his teammates formed a perimeter around the ref to protect him. But one of the Italian guys jumped over Papu's head and punched the ref in the back of the head. And the ref turned around and saw my grandfather and took a swing at him. And so, my grandfather decided that the best way to diffuse the situation was to separate the referee's jaw from the rest of his face. He got a lifetime ban from football because of it, and had to become a painter. But the part of the story that's not that glamorous to share is that he knew a guy on the Australian FA board, and his lifetime ban lasted 6 months. But he had to move to Sydney, which is where I was born. He had to move his family to Sydney and play for the Sydney Greek team. And he moved here and was in and out of the team for a couple of weeks, and then hurt his back, and then it was the 60s. So once you hurt your back, that's it.
You're done.
You're done. So it was a less than glamorous end to his career. It would have been better, I think, for the story had it just been he punched the ref, got banned for life, the end.
Yeah.
And as far as my show goes, that's what I say.
Nice.
Just ended there, yeah. They don't
Nice.
need to know
Yeah.
this. You heard it here
Okay.
first. Serie A spotlight.
That's right. I'm taking.
Is there any? Does it? Do you support Juventus because of that team, or does it have nothing to do with it?
Nothing to do with it. My dad, so my Italian side, all of the Sicilian immigrants in Australia support Juventus. That's
Okay.
like that's the rule. Because I think throughout the 60s and the 70s and maybe even the 50s, there was actually no Sicilian team represented in Serie A.
Mm.
I have a fun story to tell you guys. So I did a for the Australian FA Cup. It's called the Australia Cup. A couple of years ago, I was hired to do like a fan day. I went down to a place called Queanbeyan, which is just 5 minutes out of Canberra, our capital city, and I interviewed the president and the mayor of the town about this club called Monaro Panthers, which was the Italian team from the beginning of the National Premier League days, about their fans and about their club because they had made it quite far in the Australian FA Cup.
Mm.
And it's an Italian team, so it's the Italian team in that town. And I met two gentlemen who played on the very first ever Monaro Panthers team in I think 1949 or early
Oh, wow.
1950s. And it's just oldest Italian men imaginable. And I'm interviewing them, and one of them pulled out a photo scrapbook. And he was showing me photos of like his family when he was growing up, and he showed me a photo of his dad, who was one of the three men who founded Palermo, the football club.
Ooh.
And they commissioned the Renzo Barbera to be built, and he was showing me like his
Oh my
father
God.
cutting the tape at Renzo Barbera and like them creating what we now know as Palermo in like, I don't know, 1920 whatever. And it's just this completely random dude in this completely random town in Australia.
With a
And I'm
scrapbook.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm like,
That
what
turned
is
from a hey,
happening?
look at my scrapbook to the coolest thing ever in a matter of
Yeah.
seconds.
Yes,
Like if
yes.
you're gonna walk around with a scrapbook, that's something cool.
Hey.
Something boring.
What was that movie that the guy had a scrapbook that he couldn't stop drawing penises on? He was just
Superbad.
super bad.
Super bad.
He was just addicted to drawing penises.
By the end, that was so good. The detail.
I'm not
No,
gonna comment on how many penises there were in the Renzo Barbera scrapbook. Above or below 5.
Well, enough to open a stadium and start a football team, I guess.
Yeah, crazy, crazy.
But before we get into any of the Juve discussion, so on and so forth, while we're kind of on the topic of the whole Greek, Italian, Australian kind of thing, you had 2004, 2006, and 2020/2021. That must have been some of the best years of your life, but particularly 2004 and 2006 in the space of 2 years. Which one would you say was the most memorable for you?
Well, can I add an extra layer?
Yes.
In 2005, I was at the stadium when Australia qualified for their first World Cup in
Oh my
25
God.
years by beating Uruguay. And yeah, I was there with my family, and because it was always really hard for Australia to make the World Cup in those days because we went through Oceania qualifying.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we would smash American Samoa and Tonga and all of these Pacific islands. We'd smash like I think the record for the biggest win in international football is still Australia versus American Samoa, and it was like 36-0. I think
the 12-1 was bad.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that record still stands now, right? And so we would go through all that qualifying and just destroy these terrible teams, and then we would have to play whatever team came fourth in South America. So it would be like,
Oh my God.
have fun playing against all of these American Samoas and these teams that don't even have like shoelaces, and now you've got to play against Diego Forlan. Enjoy.
Oh my God, man! And you actually had quite a decent run in the 2006 World Cup, Australia. But they got
God.
beaten by who was it in the Italian team?
Fabio Grosso.
Fabio Grosso. He dove for the penalty. Madonna, man.
So I was kind of you're right, they were really good, and that was the best Australian team that's ever existed. We're talking like at least half the starting 11 was playing in the Premier League or Serie A at the time.
Was there Tim Cahill, Mark Viduka, Schwarzer? Was it Schwarzer in goal?
Yep.
Solid team, man.
Tim Cahill, Mark Viduka, Harry Kewell, who played for Liverpool.
Harry Kewell.
And then there was Vince Grella and Mark Bresciano, I think at the time was playing for Palermo, and Grella was playing for Parma at the time. The team was really good, boys, and we took it to Brazil. It was 2-0 against Brazil at full time in the group stage. It was 1-0 for the longest time, and this was Brazil with Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Adriano,
Robinho, Real Madrid, Robinho, I think it was
Real Madrid, Robinho, who did he score? No, he assisted the original Fred. Fred scored in that game.
Fred.
Yeah.
So to go back to your initial question, it was 2004 Greece winning the Euros, 2005 Australia qualifying for this World Cup, and then 2006 Italy. It was a really good 3-year period. It definitely made up for my parents going through the worst divorce ever during that exact 3-year period.
You win some, you lose some, man.
You win some, you lose some. Exactly.
Your life peaked, but apparently not.
Like imagine me in 2003 as an 11-year-old just kneeling down and praying and just saying, listen, if Greece can just win the Euros, you can take my family away from me. It's fine. Just let Greece win the Euros.
No, this was, I think,
it's still the craziest thing that's ever happened in football. It's the craziest thing that's ever happened in football.
It's up there, man. It's up there. I think recently, maybe the whole Leicester thing, kind of.
Greece is another level.
Yeah, Greece is crazy.
Look at what they're competing against.
Literally, and they won against Portugal in the final with Ronaldo, Figo, etc. So
who was the manager of Greece at the time? I have no idea.
Otto Rehagel. Otto Rehagel is the German coach. He had won the Bundesliga with, I think, Eintracht Frankfurt in the 80s.
Wow,
he was extremely well respected coach. And there's a really good documentary, I think, on Amazon called King Otto, and it's all about how he came in and totally changed the fortunes of the Greek national team. Like before 2004, the Greek national team didn't even have their own training ground. They would always, whenever the national team got together, they would borrow Olympiacos or Panathinaikos or Ajax training ground. Like they just had absolutely zero football infrastructure, and he came in and just said, we're going to be the hardest team to beat in the history of football.
He needs to visit Malta.
Hey,
we have one stadium and all the games are played there.
Yeah.
It's the only stadium with real turf, by the way.
What are Malta ranked globally?
136th, something like that.
Malta ranking football. Let's see.
We've probably gone down since then, man.
World ranking, Malta. Let's see. We are 171st.
We had gone up. We had a decent spell.
Cuba are better than us.
Yeah, we had a decent spell recently, but our coach was doing inappropriate things or trying to do inappropriate things to some of the players. So allegedly, so he got sent home.
He's an Italian man.
Yeah, Davis Manja. He
pretty good manager.
He managed
playing champagne football,
bro. He beat. Don't quote me on this because my memory is so hazy. But he had taken over. Was it Palermo, man? It might have been Palermo in Serie A, and in his debut game, he won 4-3 against Pioli's Inter, and Miccoli scored a hat-trick. Boom. That's what it was. Yeah. That's what it was.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
But
Yeah,
turns
yeah.
out, I don't
He's been
know.
unemployed. That's since 2022.
You win some, you lose some. Like,
Yeah,
it's the same
yeah.
thing with
That's
Devis Manja. I remember
I think they
Devis
should have
Manja.
taken it personally.
what.
I mean, I've never seen Malta play so well in my life. Man.
We were
Attacking
good.
teams, typically we line up with 5 at the back, low block, concede in the first 20 minutes, so it kills the entire game plan.
Yeah.
The wingers advance, and then all of a sudden, boom, another goal, 2-0. Then it's like 6-0 by halftime, and we're at the stadium. Like, what are we doing?
We have a left wing back. He's actually quite good, man. I really like him. He's been around for some time, but I think he's late 20s now. Ryan Kamenzuli.
Yes,
he's good. He's a very industrious left wing back. So he constantly, he's got a decent cross on him for the first 70 minutes of a game, because then I think he starts to misfire. But he's one of those that he looks exhausted from minute 3. He's sweating like a pig, but he doesn't stop for the full game. Huh? Pure mouth breather, from start to finish.
I love those guys. Do you guys remember Ivica Olic, who used to play for Croatia?
Yes, bro.
Yes,
as well. With Bayern, right? With Bayern,
yeah.
In 2000 and something, he had scored against Real Madrid in the Champions League, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. That guy was the same. He was sweat and steam coming off his forehead as soon as the whistle blew, but he would never run out of energy.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Before we move on to Juventus, I have one more comment about the Australian national team I'd like to say. So I watched the documentary on Netflix, Captains of the World. I don't know if you watched it.
I haven't seen the last episode, but it's really good.
It's amazing. So it gets like Brazil, and they're going on about like how we have to bring this home for our people, and it means so much to us. The World Cup. We have to honor our people. It gets Argentina again. They're like, this is for Messi. We're all working for Messi. They all have their little missions, right? And their little mottos that they're sharing with each other. Then it gets the Australian national team. All right, guys, let's fuck them up. Let's fuck them up. Let's go. Let's fucking kill these cats.
Yeah, I mean that's the most emblematic thing of Australian culture generally. Not just the way we approach sport. It's just everything. Let's fuck them up. You guys don't dabble in the Premier League that much. Is that right?
No, we know a bit. I do my fair share of Prem, to be honest.
So you know all about Ange Postecoglou, right?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely, big Ange.
Listen,
big Ange. Do you understand? I think it would be similar for you. Like imagine your uncle, like your Maltese uncle, one day was managing one of the biggest clubs in the Premier League. It's surreal to be seeing a guy doing Premier League press conferences saying, "Mate, listen, it's like my fat Greek uncle went from talking shit at a barbecue, burning Slovakia, and now he's Tottenham Hotspur manager." It's so surreal, and I like it. It gets me to the point where I'm scrolling through TikTok, and my whole TikTok these days is like Ange Postecoglou interviews, and like football highlights and a bit of stand-up comedy. And my algorithm has understood me to the point where it's gotten to like random TikTokers in the UK doing a green screen in front of Ange Postecoglou talking shit about him because he had a big rant. And I've never felt more visceral anger at watching something football related than when some random English child on TikTok is like talking shit about Ange Postecoglou. It honestly feels like somebody's talking shit about my dad. But like that's the degree to which Australian football is like underdeveloped. That if and look, him being Greek obviously helps me too. But I feel so much like love, and I watch more Tottenham. I'm not a Tottenham Hotspur supporter, but I watch more Tottenham Hotspur games this season, I think, than I watch Juventus games.
Oh my god!
Just just to support, you know.
And he has them. He has them playing like the most entertaining football they've played in a while. So they had Mourinho and Conte, I believe, back to back, which is two of the most pragmatic coaches. You could literally, it's almost like an exaggeration when you say they had Conte and Mourinho back to back. But now they've gone to a totally different extreme. If I have the slightest, Anthony, the slightest criticism for Postecoglou, it's that he's a bit too cool. So he just always wants to attack, plays with the high line no matter what. He's literally, let's go kill these cunts. I think I think sometimes defending, if he were to add it to the agenda, he could have them seriously battling like top 4 in the Prem.
The way he carries
100%.
himself is amazing, though. Like the way he represents Australia, like he's transparent. You know, it's refreshing. He'll sit there and he'll be like, "Look, we are not a team that's going to guarantee Champions League football to any player." You know, I'm not sure if you saw the interview. He was like, so if a player chooses Champions League football over us, he's not the type of profile we're after.
Exactly.
And that type of speech is super, it's appreciated by the fans, totally. Like, it's refreshing, you know? He's not a corporate monkey.
He's not like, he doesn't seem to be very well media trained. He's just himself, you know.
He's just a random Aussie Greek guy from Melbourne. That's it. That's
exactly.
It's as quintessential as it could be. But you're right. His football seems to have no plan B, and that's a little bit concerning. Having said that, he has won no matter where he's gone. He won the A-League with 2 different clubs. He had a dynasty at one of the Queensland teams. He then coached the national team. And won the Asian Cup. So further to what I was saying before about how we used to play against American Samoa, then they decided that Australia is part of Asia, and so now we qualify through Asia, which means we play in the Asian Cup, obviously the Asian Euros, and he won the Asian Cup at the first time of asking with Australia. Then he went and coached in Japan with Yokohama. He won the Asian Champions League with Yokohama. Yokohama is in the City football group, so they're owned by Man City, just like Palermo and Girona, and so his rep after that got elevated in Europe. That's how he got the Celtic job, and then he obviously did so well at Celtic. That's how he's now Tottenham Hotspur coach. He fucking used to coach South Melbourne FC, which is not even in the top league, which sent me an email a couple of weeks ago asking me if I wanted to do comedy at their trophy night. You know what I mean? It's insane. It's insane. It's like my dad. It's like my dad is coaching Tottenham. It's insane.
We had the only time Malta was ever put on the stage, basically, from a footballing perspective, was Michael Mifsud. I don't know if you've ever heard of Michael Mifsud. Have you heard of him? The Maltese Mosquito. You probably heard him from us, actually, podcast.
I definitely heard him from you guys, and then I went and looked him up.
He's had the 2 goals.
He gave Piqué probably the toughest game he's ever had.
He hit the post with a back heel as well.
Yeah.
That was mental. Like,
there was another time we put on the stage actually with André Schembri when Pirlo had said this must be Pirlo just being either really kind or maybe he drank a bit too much of his homegrown red wine before this interview. But he said André Schembri was the most difficult opponent he's ever faced in his life. He floored him, André Schembri floored Pirlo.
He played the game like this.
Yeah, and he dribbled 2 players at once when he chipped the ball over Pirlo and jumped over him. It was insane. I love André Schembri.
Yeah,
that's great. That's awesome. Is Mifsud one of the most popular surnames in Malta?
It's quite common.
It's
not the
one of them. I think the most common is Borch. Mifsud. It's Galia. Galia is mental. Galia is crazy.
Yours is Fennec is pretty. I mean, there's 3 famous Fennecs who are Maltese in Australia.
Okay.
Really?
I thought you were going to talk about the 3 famous Fennecs in Malta. They don't have a good reputation at
all. One of them's in prison. His name's Jorgen Fenech, a hotel tycoon businessman.
He made international news for assassinating a journalist.
Yeah.
Wow. The other two are you two. You two, the
The
other
other two
two
are
for
us.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Fuck yeah. No, we had Jeff Fennick was he's one of our best boxers ever. He was like world bantamweight boxing champion.
You had us were related to him.
Yeah.
I had looked him
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
I might
Yeah.
be boxer.
You wish.
Then there's a famous Fennec. What's her name? The Italian porn star.
Yeah. Her name is, I think her name is our mom's name.
No. Shut up, bro. No, how could you say that?
I think it actually might be.
It's not, bro. It's not.
No, it's not. It's not.
No shit, it's not, bro. What the fuck are you saying? You Google her mother, Edwidge Fennec.
Yes, Edwidge. She's named after an apple. Yeah, she's like a vintage porn star.
Oh damn.
Yeah, she's exactly. You know the legend cards on FIFA should have a legend card on Pornhub.
Okay, let's
That's sick.
transition on the note of porn star card to Juventus. So this season you finished third. You started the season off very well, and then it went to shit, and then kind of went well again because you won a trophy. You ended up winning the Coppa Italia. So first of all, where do you stand on Allegri? Because Allegri is one of the most divisive managers in Serie A. The core, the ultras of Juve seem to love him, but then there are so many fans that were Allegri out and have been Allegri out for so long.
It's hard because objectively you can't hate a coach that's won 5 Scudetti for you in a row, 2 Champions League finals. I think it was 5 Coppa Italia in a row as well. Like
something like that. Yeah.
The legacy is completely unimpeachable, and I held out with faith in Allegri for longer than I think most. But it got to a point this season when this season's collapse, when everything fell apart after was it the Empoli draw when Milik got sent off?
Yeah.
It was 5 Coppa Italias, by the way, in a row. That's mad.
Yeah, it's insane, right? And so after the wheels totally and utterly fell off, and when that happens, like if that had happened to any other club in any other major league, he's gone. No matter who he is, he's gone. He was held together by that ridiculous contract that Andrea Agnelli gave him. That just made it completely impossible to ever get rid of him. I still can't understand why they gave him such an insane contract. And what he had done in the past. Those two things kept him in a job, I think, like what happened last season, given all of the off the field bullshit. I think what they did was pretty good. But having said that, you don't have the same setup that he had when he first took over from Antonio Conte. When he took over from Antonio Conte, he had a team of men, he had a team of winners, he had a team of developed players, and all he had to do was kind of put the chess pieces on the board in the right way, and for that, he's very, very good. He is not the right man to come in and develop diamonds in the rough, which is basically everything that Juve's squad is right now. Correct me if you think that I'm wrong, but the likes of Vlahovic, even Chiesa, Locatelli, these are not finished products by any means. Oh, you're not even starting with the super young guys. I'm talking about the guys that like are the cornerstones of the team. These are not like you can't compare Locatelli to Claudio Marchisio and Arturo Vidal. You can't even compare Bremer, who I love. I'll lick that guy's knees, but you can't compare Bremer to Barzagli, Chiellini, Bonucci. Like you can't.
You can't even compare Pogba to Pogba at this point.
Literally.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he had a tough job, but now's the time to go. I'll show you guys a FIFA career mode save that I have from the last one that was ever called FIFA before they turned it into EA. Of me winning the Champions League with Juventus with Thiago Motta as the coach.
Oh my God.
From the year and a half ago.
Holy shit.
Oh God.
Good call, man.
If that happens,
That transition.
that transition is
The next
sexy.
question is thoughts on Motta.
Not to. Oh, I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely
Rocking.
over the moon. I think they announced it like 2 hours ago.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was a really, really poor announcement on the Juve Instagram. I don't know if you saw it. It was just like it
No,
was it's like
I thought I saw Fabrizio as well.
I
I didn't
thought I
see
saw
the.
no. They announced, but they did like a cool graphic to announce it, and all it was like a couple of footballs bouncing down the stadium stairs at the Juve stadium, and it formed all the balls formed TM in the middle of the
There it is. I'm seeing it now.
guys.
Yeah. Transport Malta.
It's like the guy who did the social media marketing guy who did the Osimhen coconut video.
Yeah.
He got fired from Napoli, and then Juve hired him. They're like, "This is
Exactly. Literally Giuntoli.
yeah, this is literally Giuntoli was like, I like that kid. He was good."
Yeah, exactly.
That coconut piece, mwah, chef's kiss.
So this Motta thing created a domino effect, right? So Italiano went to Bologna, Palladino went to Fiorentina, and Nesta went to Monza, which is actually quite exciting. Curious to see how he'll do over there. What do you think about Italiano to Bologna, man?
So I've heard you guys say that you think it's a lateral move.
I definitely think it's a lateral move.
It's a step up, personally.
I think historically it would be definitely a lateral move. If anything, in the last 20 years, I say it would be a downgrade. But now I think it's a slight step up because they're playing Champions League. He seems like the right man, at least from a formation perspective. He seems like the right manager to take over from what Thiago Motta did. The 4-3-3, the similar kind of like what they do with the wingers, like similar kind of stuff. And also Bologna, I would like to hope are a team on the rise. They've got what's his face as the sporting director.
Oh, he's amazing.
Sartori.
Santori, exactly. Sartori.
Yeah, he basically created this Atalanta project. So if they have faith in him, like I think everybody assumes that Bologna are going to self-destruct now. If Zirkzee leaves, if Calafiori leaves, Motta's already gone. I think everybody kind of assumes that they're going to self-destruct. But with Sartori on board, with Italiano, who's made 2 European finals in a row, with the Champions League money, if they can reinvest the funds that they get from selling these players correctly, we could be looking at a Bologna who's like here to stay at the top of Serie A for a while.
Yeah.
In which case it would be a definite step up from Fiorentina. It's like a really, really appealing project, I think, from his perspective.
Absolutely. Especially when you compare it to what Rocco Commisso has been doing. I really don't like the signings and the way they operate in the market.
Not at all.
Yeah, that Nzola signing is one I can't wrap my head around. There was a point where they were just signing random players, like aging players from different Serie A clubs, like not really the best project.
No, I think it's an easier club to work with in the sense that obviously Santori on board, you've got a forward-thinking, progressive guy who is willing to bring in the correct talent and with the correct project. So it's not blindly bringing in profile names to try to raise the profile of the team, but someone that actually wants to see good performances and good chemistry on the pitch.
Potential turnover, man.
That is to me, because one season of Champions League to me still doesn't make it an upgrade. But the fact that he's surrounded by the team management-wise that he's surrounded with, I think that's kind of what's making it a bit more of an upgrade in my eyes. I think also had it not been for Conte going to Napoli, and had it not been for who did Lazio get again? What's his name? Baroni. For Lazio getting Baroni, he would have had a shout at one of the top 7 teams for sure. Italiano.
Yeah, I think so too. The one criticism I have, and that's why I'm excited to see what his Bologna side can do. It's the the pointless possession, man.
Mm.
I don't know if that's a personnel thing or an Italiano thing. I can't quite.
It's very purely, bro. It's very
And
purely.
not even though, because the extent of it, man, is ridiculous sometimes. The way they have like 73% ball possession, and you're watching the game and you're falling asleep because they can't create anything. They just can't create anything. And it's been this has been the problem since the days of Vlahovic, completely. And I'm wondering if it's a personnel thing or an Italiano thing. So we'll kind of see with Bologna if they replace Xerxes adequately.
I want. What the hell was that, Madonna? There's a ghost. I want to ask before we get into maybe the other managerial changes. Many players have been linked. Many player rather have been linked with Juve at the moment. So there's obviously Douglas Luiz, who's a done deal pretty much at this point. Now I have some of my friends that know ball, that watch the Premier League week in, week out, that rate this guy so much. They call him a world-class player. There's Calafiori, who we've been linked to as well. You got Di Gregorio. You're looking at Cope Miners as well, who's missing the Euros, unfortunately. All these players under Motta, but which one are you most keen on seeing to wear a Juve shirt?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Also, just to cycle back, I didn't want to interrupt you guys, but it's totally. This is what happens when you guys take a week off. I've been renovating my apartment for the last week, so I've just been painting and listening to football podcasts. But without you guys, it's totally news to me that Nesta went to Monza, and it's totally news to me that did you say Baroni is at Lazio?
Yeah.
As in Baroni that was at
Hellas
Verona last season.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great signing. I find it so funny that Tudor left after 3 months.
Hey man, hey.
It doesn't make sense. What a waste of time.
that was always a match made in hell. Looking into it, and like Tudor, you can't tell that guy what to do ever. You can't tell him to wear a tie to work. You can't tell him to shave his neck. You can't tell him
or the sides.
Yeah. He's a beast. It was never going to work. So
there are more rumors, by the way, like David and Nicola might be going to Cagliari from Empoli, and the manager of Venezia is going to Torino, most likely, Vanoli, and Venezia are getting the manager of
Catanzaro.
Catanzaro playing super sexy champagne football in Serie A.
You'll hear we're releasing the episode tomorrow night, so you'll hear all about these teams and these managers.
Okay. Has Juric left Torino?
Yeah, Juric was gonna join Hajduk Split. Everything was agreed. Everything was agreed because he wanted to return home. He rejected offers in Saudi. He wanted to go and work in his country. Everything was set, and he apparently bailed last second. He bailed last second, and the person he was dealing with, their sporting director, it blew my mind, is Nikola Kalinic.
Oh my
Nikola
God!
Kalinic is the sporting director of Hajduk Split.
No,
you're
really?
I swear to God, dude. And I triple checked it because I couldn't believe it.
Who's their chairman? Andrea Silva. We're just going back to the banter here at this point.
Nikola Kalinic had one of the best careers as like a third striker.
Yeah.
He played for Milan. He played for Atletico Madrid. He played for one
Fiorentina.
other club as well. He played for Fiorentina. The only guy, I think he played for Roma too. The only guy who I can recall having a more cushy ride. Tell me, you guys remember Zelko Kalac?
Kalac
one that was with Milan.
Yeah.
Kalac.
Zelko Kalac. Kalac he's Australian. He's massive. He was nicknamed the Spider.
That's him. We saw him live in front of us. Was he at Milan in 2006?
When they came to Malta.
When they came to Malta, we saw him there, bro.
Yes.
Australian. No, yes, he's Australian.
So he's Australian, and he was behind Schwarzer in the 2006 World Cup. But for whatever reason, in the third match, so we beat Japan, we lost to Brazil, and then it was like, I think, depending on the results, we had to get a result against Croatia in the third game. And Australia were doing well, and then Niko Kovac, who you guys might remember was coach of Bayern Munich a couple of years ago. Niko Kovac was the captain of Croatia at the time. He had a shot from outside of the box, straight on, bang on to the goalkeeper. Hard, but not difficult to save. And Kalac dived, and then for a moment he forgot that his family left Croatia, and he just threw the ball over him.
Oh God!
What happened? We've lost him.
Oh no!
No problem.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah, we're good. We're good. All
Heart
sorted.
attack there.
Hey.
We're chimpanzees when it comes to technology. So we're like, what happened?
It's when he grabbed the ball and he kind of spilt it over him. No.
Yeah. It was one of those things where it's like it almost looks deliberate. Like the ball hits him and then it falls over him in slow motion, and he's like, "Oh no!" And then he winks at the camera to his Croatian immigrant parents, like Manchurian candidate, agent, mission completed. And then the next time I saw him, this is how football autistic I am. The next time I saw him was like a year later, playing for Milan in the Champions League group stage against Lille, and he conceded a similar goal to a guy called Peter Odemwingie. I don't know if you can.
Oh my God!
We used to call him
Oh my Winky. Yeah.
Oh my Winky. Yeah. And then from there, Oh my Winky went to the Premier League after he left with Lille. And I remember just thinking, like, how is this guy? This guy was third choice behind Dida, and I want to say
Storari, was it?
Abbiati.
And this guy he won the Champions League. He was in finals of the Champions League. I think he won the Scudetto, and he's like the third choice goalkeeper, and not even close to the charisma of Pinsoglio. Juve kept Pinsoglio's like the vibe guy.
How many times can a man bald, man?
Pinsoglio,
Pinsoglio is constantly, like every 5 years he bald.
Yeah, he has a new hairline every 5 years as well. Just to go back to the question of which player are you most excited to see?
Sorry, I completely.
We all did.
Honestly, so Douglas Luiz is a really, really good player, and it seems like it's a wrapped up done deal. And also, McKennie had a good season, and I like him for vibes. But I don't think he's an irreplaceable player, and I think Samuel Ealing Jr. is one of the most overrated prospects we've ever had. So if they're going to swap those two for a player of the caliber of Douglas Luiz,
plus 20 million? Are you joking? What a steal! Juntali masterclass, man.
And then if they can bring in Koop Miners as well, we're talking about potentially the best midfield in Serie A. With one asterisk that I'll get to in a little bit. Having said all of that, I am most excited for Calafiori.
I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. And in Motta's system, it's perfect. You're literally taking him out of that Bologna team. Same system, same manager. Exactly, plug and play.
And from some reports, because before the season ended, it was looking like, if there's going to be a sacrificial lamb on the transfer market, it's going to be Bremer.
Yeah.
But from all reports now, Thiago Motta's said, non si tocca for Bremer, right? Now imagine a back two partnership of Calafiori and Bremer. It's like the creator and the destroyer. It's something that I really, really love the prospect of that. And then when you have a goalkeeper like Di Gregorio who can actually play with his feet behind them, it's really, really exciting for me.
I'm so signing some of my favorite players. That's a strange place for me to be right.
We're currently the exact same place we were last season with Xerxes that we were with last season with Thuram, where it's pretty much a done deal. But now commissions.
The greedy pig wants 15
Fuck
million.
that guy, bro.
On top of the 40 million transfer fee, what are you doing?
You know what, percent? I'm a salesman, right? So I love commission. So I'm all for that commission. But 37.5% commission on a 40 million sale, you need to relax,
Like,
madam.
and what's
15
why?
million.
Why? So Milan want him. He wants Milan. Why does he deserve this commission?
Because he doesn't give a fuck about the player.
That's
He
it,
just
that's it.
cares about his pocket.
That's
Like
it.
the famous story when Mino Raiola got Pogba signed by United with the commission. He bought the house of
Escobar.
someone like that though, bro.
Yeah.
Italian.
Al Pacino. No.
I'm
I'm
gonna find it.
Who it was. It was a mobster though.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it.
Al Capone.
Al Capone. He bought the house of Al Capone for millions with Pogba commission.
The most Mino Raiola story, honestly.
Yeah.
That guy, what a legend. Gone too soon.
Hey.
Hey.
So this is the agent that's requesting this 37.5.
Yeah, his name.
15 million, yeah, he wants.
He's an Iranian Dutch individual.
It's not Ramadani.
No.
I don't know who it is, to be honest.
I knew the name by heart because I was praying that lightning would strike him last night.
I would love Zirkzee at Milan.
Milan have been one top striker. I mean, I love Olivier Giroud. I know how you guys feel about Olivier Giroud, but you know, he can only give you so much at his age and with his skill set. Milan have been crying out for a dynamic striker like that. I think if they get Zirkzee, you're going to see the best season that Rafael Leao has ever had.
Absolutely.
For sure. The way he drops deep, he is such like. Now it's tough to say a refined Giroud because Giroud is as refined as it gets, but he is like a peak, silkier, flowier Giroud
He's
with
mobile.
better
He
movement.
can do what Giroud can only dream.
He is a 6'3" ballerina. I've never seen a 6'3" ballerina until I saw Zirkzee play for the first time for Parma. The agent's name is Kia Eurapchian.
Oh yeah,
he's an Iranian Dutch person, and to be honest, just the worst person in the world at this point.
I mean, these agents are all pieces of shit, regardless. Yeah. They're just like different levels. They're like real estate agents for footballers. They're just the worst.
Literally.
But man, I will feel so bad for you guys if it's another Marcus Thuram situation, and he just unless Zirkzee somehow ends up at Juve, I'll feel very, very bad.
I think he'll fit really well. Unfortunately, another team he'd fit really beautifully into, apart from Milan, is Arsenal. I think Arsenal have a very, very similar style of play to Milan. They have a very similar project to Milan. Now they've got some more cash, obviously, that they can spend 70 million on Kai Havertz. We can't. But other than that, what they did with Odegaard and kind of getting rejects from other places and rebuilding their careers. They play quite similarly as well, and they like to have a striker that could play Bukayo Saka in, that could play Martin Odegaard in, that could play Martinelli in. He would fit in perfectly there.
He would, God forbid.
God forbid.
United want them as well, apparently. Mm-hmm. But United want everyone, always.
I think where Milan will have an advantage is not only that he's playing in Italy, but I think it's a 40 million release clause.
Yeah.
So it's affordable for Milan, and United and Arsenal can go after higher profile targets that Milan would never have a hope of signing.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of, I don't want to say that I'm happy for an injury, but I was, at least the silver lining of Koop Meiners getting injured and not playing at the Euros is that the Premier League teams that are interested in him will be like, oh, we'll just look elsewhere then because this player's injured and we can't have him for the start of the season. Whereas Giuntoli's had a hard on for this guy for the last 4 years. Me too, granted. And no matter what, he could be injured for 6 months. Juve will still try and sign him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Koop Meiners is bloody amazing, man. He's the most versatile midfielder in the league.
I think. Look at Matt. He's being fucking, what do you call it? I'm exaggerating. Koop Meiners is the most versatile midfielder in the world. Shut up.
Boom.
I think so.
Man, there might be some midfielder in Congo who's more versatile.
Come on, the eight. I've seen him play as box to box. I've seen him play regista and I've seen him play trequartista to fucking perfection, guys.
Like
to
a glove, bro.
perfection, literally
And
every single role.
He even used to play centre back for Alkmaar as well.
That's
Oh,
mental,
wait, I
man.
didn't even know.
And that if Juve play him in the 6th role, and he could slot in to the centre back role, whilst Calafiori is going forward. Now, ideally, you'd want him closer to goal, but he's so good in that between the defence and the midfield, so he could really slot in and cover for Calafiori.
I wonder how Motta will utilize Vlahovic. Because
Ooh,
Vlahovic
it's true.
dropping deep, I mean, it's
He's not an idiot, huh? He can knock the ball down.
Head on him, to be honest.
But I don't think that the Motta system relies on a player having the skill set of Xerxes. I think because if you remember, he was the one that tricked Fiorentina into buying Enzola, with what he was doing at Spezia. It's not so much that his system relies on that. I think he just utilized the fact that Xerxes had that skill set of dropping deep and being able to create play from the number 9 role by dropping deep. I think he'll do something totally different with Vlahovic. I think Vlahovic will be. I really, really hope and I think that this will be Vlahovic's best season in a long, long time. The one player that I actually don't think fits into the system at all, and that I'm desperate to see leave, but I don't think he's gonna leave because apparently these two are fucking friends, is Rabiot.
Rabiot, apparently Milan are interested.
There's a link to Milan.
I'm so sick of this fucking guy. And Juve fans love him. Juve fans absolutely love him. Pazzo Cavallo, he's an idiot. He's got all the physical attributes to make him a top midfielder, but he's an idiot. I don't know, like you watch him play and it's like he's dumb sometimes. The best thing I've ever seen him do is score that goal against Milan.
We were on the cruise, bro.
No.
Were we not on the cruise when
we
he
were
scored
on the cruise for the 4-0, bro.
where Demiral scored?
No, Benatia.
Benatia with the machine gun celebration. Donnarumma.
Kelly.
Yeah. I see what you mean. I see what you mean about Rabiot. I think Rabiot, his only great season was not this season, the one before. When he was so close to joining United, guys. He was so close to joining United. And he had a ridiculously good season. I think people kept that hype train up to this season, but I think I don't think it was up to par this season. I think, to be honest, and I know it's frowned upon to call players this, but he's a bit of a donkey. In the sense that he can charge back and forth, and he's got a good header, and he's strong, and he's physical. On paper, great box to box, but he makes so many bad decisions on the ball, man. Unless he instinctually gets the ball around the box.
Yeah.
I also don't like that his mom is his agent.
I was about to say.
Is his mom his agent?
His mom's his agent. She's been since the PSG days. Yeah.
His mom is his agent, and she was responsible for his fallout at PSG. She was responsible for the Man United move not happening. She's like, just as a man, how can you have your mom as your agent? Doesn't matter. She could be the best agent ever. What are you doing? What kind of psychological problems does this? Yeah, call my mom. Exactly. You don't want my mom to hear about this. I'm a 28-year-old. You don't want my mom to hear about this.
Which is lamer, his or Icardi's? Because Icardi's is, let me ask my girlfriend. That's not that cool either.
But Icardi stole his agent girlfriend from some dude that was supposed to be his friend. So
Maxi.
Depending on
Maxi. Bro, he has Maxi Lopez's kids tattooed on him, bro. That's crazy, man.
What a flex.
Hey, man. Hey, ma. I would hate to be his friend.
I'm really hoping that they let Rabiot's contract run out because he's on such high wages, and if you can get rid of him and bring in Koop Miners, what are we talking
It's like you're turning water into wine, man.
So you talked about the wages, and the wage bill of Juventus is something that's been kind of holding them back for a while, since I believe Paratici maybe fucked up with most of these. Like, you've just got rid of Szczesny for 5 million, but that 5 million is going to save you so much money because this guy was on 12 million gross per year. Szczesny, the goalkeeper, is the second highest earner behind Vlahovic. That's something. This is like Donnarumma.
Number three,
Alexandro, 11 million net. Then Bremer, 9 million. Okay, fair enough. I mean, he's good, but there's no need to give Bremer 9 million. You bought him from Torino.
Give him
you don't
6.
need to give him 9 million.
Give him
euros.
6.
If you're good. Yeah, you don't need to give
Relax.
him. It's a step up.
Oh, they had to give him a high salary because they snuck in to fuck Inter with that deal. That was one of my favorite.
I remember that. You're right. You're totally right.
That was one of my favorite deals ever because he had posted, I don't know if you guys can remember this, he had posted a training video of him on the treadmill saying, the caption was like, waiting for a new season. And he was wearing a dark blue t-shirt and black shorts. And he was waiting for Inter to sign him all summer. And they were just fucking around waiting for Skriniar to leave. And they couldn't sort it out. And then Juve sold Delict and just jumped in and made the deal happen overnight. Fucked Inter. And so I think that's why they had to sweeten the deal by giving him such a high salary. But my God, is that not one of my favorite deals in the last 10 years?
Yeah, I think
he's amazing.
That happened.
He's a beast.
That happened while we were recording, bro. Because we were saying Bremer to Winter. I remember it was on my notes. I could see yes, and the same and fireworks outside. And the same summer, Dybala was gonna go to Inter, and that fell through, and he went to Roma. But it was Dybala to Inter back then. Inter were really close to signing him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
also Di Gregorio is Di Gregorio is like a lifelong Inter stan. He was in their youth academy. I saw one of these. Have you seen those TikTok videos where they're like, remain silent until you hear a better goalkeeper than, or like, this person versus that? Had the Handanovic one. Maybe you guys posted it.
Yeah, I think so.
It was posted by someone else, I think.
He was putting Handanovic over every single goalkeeper you've ever had a wet dream about. And it's like, surely you don't actually mean this. Surely you don't actually put Handanovic over Gianluigi Buffon. Surely not.
No, it was that was a cry for Inter to sign him. I think that's exactly what it was.
100%.
Did you hear what Jake said? Do you know about? Do you know who McKennie's girlfriend is?
Yes, I do. It's Fratese's sister.
So
she's hot, huh?
She's gorgeous.
She's
Does
hot.
this mean she's gonna be moving to bloody?
Or they're breaking up.
Yeah.
But long distance is so easy for the rich, man. That's what I was thinking. They must jet over every weekend.
Look at Taylor Swift, man.
Literally, carbon emissions everywhere.
I was a waiter at my uncle's Italian restaurant about maybe, I want to say 13 years ago, and I worked with a young man from Italy by the name of Max Satta. Max Satta is the brother of Melissa Satta, who was a model in Italy and the longtime girlfriend of one Kevin Prince Boateng.
No way!
So I'm working with this guy, and he's showing me like he's my subordinate. I'm the floor manager, and he's my bitch waiter. and I'm like telling this guy that he's not bringing it to you're not bringing it to the right table, blah blah blah. I'm telling him to stay off, and then on our break he's showing me photos of him partying in Monaco with Kevin Prince Boateng, and
that's mental, bro.
Yeah.
You definitely used to tell him how hot his sister is, man. We're looking at photos of her now. She's ridiculous, bro.
Beautiful. I remember the whole fuss about her when Boateng was on. Yeah.
I don't think they're still together. Maybe.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Sure.
Boateng doesn't strike me as a one gyal kind of guy.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. He's cool. He's you guys have seen his interview where he's talking about Pirlo?
Yes, bro. Yes, the one he's done on Rio Ferdinand's podcast.
Yeah,
no,
yeah, exactly.
it's
Exactly.
great, man.
Where Peter doesn't speak English, so he's grabbed one of the players to translate for him, and he
Yeah.
just said, "Don't yell. If you're free, I know you're free."
Exactly. Oh man, and Boateng he had from the World Cup of 2006, where we were both creaming for him, bro.
I remember like saying
Creaming
we should
with it.
sign like before anything was like mentioned. Like,
And he was off
we
to
had a thing,
Genoa, bro.
yeah.
He was off to Genoa. It was done.
He I think did time at Genoa. Like,
No. He was signing for Genoa, and he didn't.
Okay. For some reason, I have a memory of
Even me, but that's what do you call it?
It's what do you call it? The effect. I forgot what they call
I forgot what the effect is called.
Yeah, when you think that something happened, when it's known, when it's widely believed that something happened, but it didn't. Is it called? I can't remember.
I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But he didn't play for Genoa before Milan.
We had fallen in love with that Ghana team with John leading the line, and there was Asamoah,
Mensah,
Mensah. Yeah, they were awesome, man, and they played with so much heart. And Kevin Prince Boateng was like the leader of that team.
2010 World Cup, sorry, not 2006.
2010, 2006 was a bit early for him, but they still had Stefan Appia, who played.
Yeah.
He played for Juve a little bit. And,
he did play Genoa, bro. He didn't play again.
One of my favorite players of all time, who played for you guys as well, but not at the peak of his powers, Michael Essien, one of my favorite.
Yes, bro.
Ever. And then Asamoah Gyan, who used to wear number 3, even though he was the striker.
Yeah. Bro, he didn't play. He joined Genoa from Portsmouth, was instantly loaned out to Milan, and was signed by Milan. That's what it was.
Okay.
That's what that effect in our head is.
Right.
Do you know?
It's definitely not that effect for that goal that he scored against Barcelona for Milan.
He has 5, I think. So some of my favorite goals, which include Kaká's goal against United, Pato's goal against Barcelona, but his goal against Barca and 2 of his goals against Lecce, the volley from outside of the box and the one with the outstep into the top near corner. He scored a hat-trick that game.
Yeah.
That was...
And then
Yepes scored the winner to make it 4-3. Yepes, he was a beast as well. But Boateng is, like, he's iconic, man. I think he's such a cool player. Even the way he spoke about De Zerbi and his time at Sassuolo. I said De Zerbi used to take his clothes off as well. When he used to get angry, he used to pull his pants down. It's such an Italian thing.
I've got him as my wallpaper.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, he's one of those streets won't forget football.
Yeah. He's metal.
So yes, I think regarding Juve, I think we can move on for now.
Shall we do Euros
so
or
the Euros are upon us, and you recently posted on your story. First of all, you posted a hilarious video. Thank you for calling everyone out. Like, okay, no shit, Mbappe is good. Like, no shit, France are good. No shit, England are good. Like, be a bit original, be creative with your predictions.
Yeah. Also, so you have nothing to lose. You're not going to get fired from your job because you got it wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
So, first of all, do you still stand by these predictions? You made them 2 days ago, I believe, so it should be.
Probably not, but let's go through it because I can't remember.
So you put Germany as the winners. You put Sesko as the top scorer. Best player, Wirtz. The dark horse, you have Turkey and Ukraine, and then the underperformers, Portugal.
Yeah. So a lot of these picks were made with the heart, rather than the head. Which sounds weird given who I've picked, but I just don't want France or England to win.
Yeah, me too.
I don't care who else it is.
I would like France to win it personally with Theo Hernandez, Mike Maignan, Olivier Giroud. I wouldn't fucking mind that.
No, Matt, you don't believe that. That's not true. You don't want
Why
that to
not?
happen. Because it's the Euros. We were talking about Greece before. You want if it's not going to be Italy, it's got to be someone weird.
It's true.
Slovenia 2024. No one will ever forget.
Yeah. I've got Portugal as my winners, bro.
Yeah, look, I think they have the best squad, player for player, in the whole tournament. But I think Ronaldo's going to play his ego card, and I think he's going to fuck that train.
I think he's taken a different kind of role recently with the national team, where he's not demanding the ball like he was at the last major tournament. He kind of lets them play from what I've seen. He's kind of almost taken a step back. I don't know if it's because like he stepped onto the pitch and like raced Leao in like a warm up and got absolutely destroyed. Like he's like, like what can I do? Like this guy's a beast. He's in the prime of his life. There's nothing. There's no filler or Botox I can do that's gonna make him keep up.
Either way, if he doesn't accept his role, like his best role would be as a super sub. If he accepts that he comes on at 70 minutes and he changes the game, then he can actually be a valuable addition. But, and this is obviously speaking from a Juve point of view, Juventus still has a big fat Cristiano Ronaldo shaped scar in Italy. Because when you sign a player like that, you have to make your entire team about him. When he's 34, 35 years old and he can't press, then you stop having your team press because you can't press with 9 men. You can't press with 9 men. And then when you base your entire team and squad building and fucking salary structure around a guy like that, and he just disappears one day, that's going to leave a huge hole. And so
COVID hit when you signed him immediately.
Yeah, I know.
It affected you really badly. You're one of the only clubs in Italy that actually gets revenue from your stadium.
Yeah, what a nightmare that was. So I am speaking from personal hurt here, but I think that he's a real problem, and I don't think that Portugal, they're certainly not going to win another Euros with him in it. But you never know. You never know. Maybe. I want the Ukraine to win it, just for a pure geopolitical standpoint, just to see what that would do to the world. Probably nothing. But
probably absolutely
nothing.
We're not gonna fuck with these guys anymore. They won the Euros.
I don't know.
They won the Eurovision.
Exactly.
Nothing happened after that.
On the topic of Ronaldo, I don't know why in his later years he's got one of the best headers in the game till today. Till this day, his jump and his reach is
ridiculous.
Immaculate.
It's ridiculous.
Why hasn't he settled as a 9? Why is he so adamant on playing out on the wing? As a 9, as a target man, dude, he'd be.
No, he plays as a 9. It's just he drifts out quite a lot.
He tries to cut inside. I haven't seen him dribble a player in years.
It's because he doesn't like being marked. That's I think that's as simple as it. There's that.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to play with somebody breathing down his neck.
Yeah.
He'll get too excited.
Guys, I had before 2 devastating fucking injuries took place. I actually had Netherlands to win the Euros. I think they have genuinely the best defense by some distance in the competition. If you were to look man for man, with all right, the Ligt isn't insane, but they've got that Spurs one. What's that? Van der
Ven. Oh my
Van
God.
der Ven. He's been brilliant. He's been really good. There's Nathan Ake. They've got Frimpong out on the right. Dumfries on the bench. Right? Yeah. They've got an insane defense, but now with their 2 midfielders and Frankie De Jong and Cope Miners being out injured, it really, really compromises their chances, man. Before that, I genuinely fully believed in my heart, because plus that, the Netherlands have got some balls on them as well. You see the fight they put up against Argentina in that game and in the last World Cup with Weghorst up front. Who gives a fuck? Just toss Weghorst up front. The horse.
Call up Zirkzee?
I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah.
Stupid. They're going to rely on Memphis Depay, like.
Yeah, I was wishing poorly upon them because they didn't call up our boy Josh. But they've also got Verbruggen in goals, who's a really, really good up and coming goalkeeper. But I think you're right, and I think I also don't trust Ronald Koeman. I don't think he's a good player at all.
Guys, I didn't even mention Van Dijk. Sorry to cut you off, but I didn't even mention Van Dijk as one of the centre backs.
Wow. It goes without saying, really. No, I don't want them to win. I kind of like this Germany team. I like their players. I've never liked the Germany team in my entire life, but I like Florian Wirtz and Musiala, and I even like Kai Havertz. I love Rudiger. Oh, what a
animal. He's just taking the piss out there sometimes, man. The way he runs. You've ever seen him do the high knee run? No?
Yes. He's constantly. There used to be a term that perfectly describes him: goblin mode. It's like he's just always he's always fucking around, like always fucking around, pulling the corner flag out and just tossing it, jumping over players, like nibbling. Who was he nibbling in that Champions League final? He was biting his back over and over,
I
man.
remember seeing the
It was
videos of that.
crazy. I love him. I think,
That's how you know a player's done an apprenticeship in Serie A, when they're doing that kind of shit.
yeah.
He was at
I think
he was at Roma for two seasons or 3 seasons, but that's enough to
something like that.
it's enough to get the asshole in you.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
No, I think Germany have got a good chance, even them being the host nation. Now, this is a stat. The home nations have actually had some bad luck recently, because obviously the last Euros was hosted by England, and they lost in the final to 7th ranked Italy. And before that, France were the home nation, and they lost in the final to 7th ranked Portugal. So who is the 7th ranked team? The Netherlands.
Oh,
They're gonna beat Germany in the final.
Damn. Yeah,
That would be
Germany
cool.
are the defending
That would
nation.
be
They have
cool.
that going for them.
And
And
who
look at
the
this,
other predictions?
So, by the way, 20% of the managers in the Euros are actually Italian.
That's
quite
crazy.
good. So yeah, predictions. Then you had your top scorer, and you put Sesko, who, by the way, I would have loved at Milan as well. He's an awesome player, man.
Yeah.
He's an awesome player, and he's in some crazy form or something. I think he scored 13 goals in the Bundesliga in his last 16 games.
My God.
To finish the season. I think Slovenia are going to be a real pain in the ass team, because other than Šeško, the only player that I know that they have is Jan Oblak, who's
No, you know another one.
who's who?
Ilicic.
Oh yeah, that's right. I heard Ilicic was in the team.
He scored in a friendly, dude. He he looks in shape. You remember the videos? Where
Oh, bless him, man. Bless him.
I'm so happy about that. I thought he was finished.
Hey, man.
Because you saw the photo with his gut, and you're like,
yes,
that's it. He's finished. He's finished. So if Ilicic comes on as a super sub, that'd be amazing. But
I have a theory, man, about him. I have a theory about Ilicic, because he had some trips to Bergamo, and I think the reception that he got from the fans would have actually done him a world of fucking good, man.
Probably.
That being because he was in such a good space, at Atalanta, playing the best football of his life, and then it turned dark. But the fact that the people over there still remember him for being the GOAT of Atalanta rather than the guy that just turned bad towards the end. And I think that must have filled him, as a person battling with mental health issues. It would have filled him with courage, filled him with confidence, and filled him with gratitude, with love, with closure. And I think that would have had a massive part to do with him finding his form again.
I think he's still the only player to score 4 goals in one game in the Champions League knockout rounds. There he is. A Serie A legend.
Absolutely. Another legend. Streets will never forget.
Absolutely. So yeah, well he's in it too. But other than that, who the fuck knows any of these guys, right? So given they're gonna have Oblak in there, they're gonna be so hard to break down. Oblak, by the way, even though he looks like he's 74 years old and he has been around forever, Oblak is my age. He's 31.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Crazy.
So
he's technically not even in his prime yet as a goalkeeper. Well, he's around his prime probably now, age-wise.
Listen to this. That's Slovenia. They've got Jaka Biol of Udinese.
Of course.
Solid
he wins the second most headers on average per game.
Yeah.
Sandy Lovren of Udinese as well, and Yasmin Kurtic. You remember him with Parma?
Oh my God, Kurtic! He still exists.
Still exists apparently. And
okay, you know what? These are some players. All right.
Do you fancy their chances in the group that they're in? The group is quite up. They've got England, Serbia, and Denmark. Denmark always exceed expectations. Serbia always underperform.
And it's coming home with England.
And England, they're England, eh? So Slovenia have a tough group.
This is why I went with Šeško to be the top scorer, because I think Denmark are going to underperform dramatically. Serbia are just shit. They're just basket cases. I
Yeah.
have it. I have it in for Serbia because I think I didn't put money, but I did a prediction that they would make the semifinals of the last World Cup, and they were just terrible. They were terrible. They
They're
embarrassed
shit.
me.
Yeah.
I went with my heart. I love Dusan Vlahovic that much. I loved Sergei at the time so much, and
Yeah.
I was like, these guys are going to put it together. All of these guys are going to put Serie A on the map through Serbia, and they failed us miserably, and I have no faith in them.
Yeah,
And
they have the same
so
manager. Yeah,
they have the same
They
manager. They
always.
have basically the same team. They've got Samardzic now, who I think
Yeah.
is slightly overrated.
I agree with you. I do think he's slightly overrated. And I feel like they're fragile mentally because, like, in a game against Albania, like they've got that history and they never ever fucking beat them, bro. They never beat them when it comes to these competitive competitions. That's twice in a row now, the World Cup and the Euros.
Wow.
So I think they are mentally fragile, and I think Denmark aren't going to do anything. So I think Slovenia are going to be a surprise package, and they're going to qualify for England. And I think that Česko is going to score all of their goals. So that's where that hunch comes from.
Fair enough. That's actually well calculated,
Hey.
well thought out.
And also, sorry to cut you off,
No
but
problem.
I'm pretty sure that they play England last.
Okay, that helps. That helps.
My top scorer, bro. I pulled. Yeah, I did what you hate, bro. Yeah, I can't see it not being Mbappe, man. He's just gone to Real Madrid. You know,
he's in the best headspace.
He's smiling, walking around. Like every time I see a video of him right now, he's like ear to ear, you know, walking around, good mood. There was a point where he, like the president of France, they was like, you know, like it was like he looks happy. The president of France commented about how happy he looks. I think he's just gonna crank it up a notch to show the world, like, listen, this is what Real Madrid have in store for them next season, and he's gonna fucking blast everyone in the Euros.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that, right? It's the only thing that I can think of is that he was kind of out of favor at PSG for the last couple of months because they knew he was leaving and they had already wrapped up their season. So he might be a bit out of practice, but he's not the kind of player that gets out of practice. So I think it's hard to argue.
Yeah, I hope it's not the case. I hope we get some like Turkish striker as a top scorer. You know,
no, I've got Skamaka as my top scorer. I genuinely believe he's gonna have a great campaign. I believe it in my gut, man.
He's been in, man.
He's been insane, man. He's been insane, and I think Spalletti did good to just shit on him the right amount. You know.
Yeah. True. When Matt's gonna be pulling his hair out when Raspadori is the sole striker in the first game.
My God, man! Like, he's always been so overrated, man. Raspadori, in my eyes. I've never looked at Raspadori and said the only time he's ever impressed me. Allah, the only time he ever impressed me was against Milan for Napoli when he scored that free kick.
The thing is, he doesn't have a position.
Exactly. Zero identity as a footballer. He's like that friend that's really good in five-a-sides. Like where just a little guy that can run with the ball and has a hard shot.
Yeah.
That's all he is.
Where do you fit this guy? Where do you put him? I would take, if I were Napoli, I would take Politano over him if I had to pick. Like,
absolutely.
With Politano, you know what Politano's going to do. No, but I agree on Skamaka. Man, I love that guy. He can do so many unique things.
Yeah.
And
so you have such an acrobatic finisher that can also have a crack from miles out. Like.
Yeah, you forgive the neck tattoos because of everything that he can do.
I think the neck tattoos are pretty cool, man. Do you know? You must know for sure about what his dad did, right?
Yeah,
because we were joking about it, bro.
I thought it was his nonno.
Both
of
them? Yeah. So his grandfather had showed up at a bar with a knife and gotten some physical.
That's right.
His father had smashed up some cars in a parking lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Money owed to Skamaka himself. Yeah. But yeah, Scamacca since kind of said I have nothing to do with these guys. I'm more like my mother.
we were joking about it when we were watching Cagliari Atalanta, because Jake and I have been to watch Atalanta twice, and unfortunately we were against them both times, because we went to watch them when Milan won the Scudetto. It was the last home game of the season against Atalanta. Then we went on to win it against Sassuolo. Yeah, for sure. And in the Cagliari game, we're going, Scamacca, you have no idea what your dad's doing out in the parking lot, bro. Trying to get in his head. Scamacca, your dad is outside.
You won't believe what he's doing out there.
He's like, no, I'm a mommy's boy. He's trying desperately to actually sign his mum as his agent. He heard it's good for business.
Exactly.
Yeah, best player. Wait, you have top scorer. You put Scamacca.
Yeah, I put Scamacca.
So best player, you got Wirtz. I haven't watched much of Wirtz.
Yeah, I got bitten by the Leverkusen fascination bug this season, and I just started watching a lot of them, and he's special. He's like, I think he's gonna have a better career than Musiala. I just think this guy's gonna be like the next superstar. He's phenomenal. And if like I had to kind of go logically, if Germany are gonna win the thing, then a German player is gonna have to step up and kind of elevate, and I think it'll be him over anyone else.
I did the same thing with Portugal, same reasoning exactly, but the guy I went for is Rafael Leao. We'll see. Dude.
The thing is,
I to have a breakout season this year as well. How many times can this guy let me down?
The thing is that I think he should start for sure. I think there's no debate that he should start. But they had a good thing going 3 years ago in the last Euros with Bernardo Silva on one side and João Felix on the other. And I think since then, João Felix hasn't been the same player. So I think Leao will get far more opportunities now. But I don't know, man.
Form, he just offers something that those guys
It's true, bro. He can.
If he enters well, once he'll cement his spot,
and especially later on in the competition, one thing you'll see is, at least in the most recent competitions, in the most recent Euros and the most recent World Cup, we've seen defenses be quite leaky, and we've seen a lot of back and forth action. If a team gets caught in that battle against Portugal and Leao is on the pitch, they are fucked, bro. They're absolutely fucked.
Not to mention, if he's used as a sub, they'll just get an extra year.
Literally.
I think he might start, because I don't think João Felix has had a very consistent season.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna say something that might potentially upset you both very much, but I kind of dislike Rafael Leao.
That's understandable.
Because this guy should be the best player in the world, and he's not. And I think that I don't know enough about the guy personally, but his just general demeanor and the way he plays when he's not playing well indicate to me that there's a little bit of a champion mentality missing from him.
Yeah.
You know how Mbappe says, I go out there and I say to myself every day, even if it's not true, I'm the best player in the world. Even if it's not true, I make myself believe it, because that's the only way to be a champion. The things that Thierry Henry's saying, like I turned up at Arsenal and Dennis Bergkamp is there and he's like the best player I've ever seen in my life. And in my head, I'm like, I will beat you at everything in training. I will beat you. I will make myself better. There's nothing about Leao's disposition, either on the field or off the field, or in terms of his consistency, that tell me that he has that kind of mentality. And given how good he is, like when he's on, there's no stopping him.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you do, you're not stopping him. He could be that generational player, but I just don't see it happening.
I share your sentiment. So not from the standpoint of not liking him, because he's one of my favorite players in the world. It's been a while since Milan have had such a world-class talent that is also so marketable. He's just cool. He's a cool player. You know what I mean? With his celebration, with his style and all that, he stands out in similar ways that players like Ronaldinho stood out, players like R9 stood out. He's just got that swagger about him. So that is something I adore as a supporter of him. It's the same simp feeling that you guys had for Dybala when he was on your team, for example. You were all simps for Dybala. Juve fans, you were all a bit sus for him.
Absolutely.
So I definitely have that for Leao. I do think the place that he lacks, you hit the nail on the head over there, and it is solely a mental thing, because I think physically he's capable of so much. I think he's super skillful and super gifted. I think he just lacks that drive to
hunger,
make
man.
him
Hunger,
but I also think, because it's an interesting thing what Anthony said, that he lacks the champion mentality, but then that also comes with a certain element of entitledness, if that's a word. Entitledness. It's disgusting. But it also comes with entitlement, because the way he flails his arm, my least favorite thing in a footballer is the flailing of arms when things aren't going your way.
He's much of a flailer, to be honest. He's more of a walker. He'll walk.
He walks and flails, to be fair. He does walk and flail, bro. In the Inter game where we conceded the first goal, he was flailing, bro. Like I want someone to be able to pick other players up and drive and want the ball. I don't see him making these runs off the ball. He's typically just straying out somewhere in space, but he doesn't fucking attack that back line to win the ball and break through the defense. He kind of needs the other team to walk out of position for him to receive the ball. He doesn't fucking attack it, you know? But he can definitely have a good Euros campaign with the attacking nature
I really
of the
hope
event.
He changes this mentality that he has, man.
Well, what's he? Is he 24?
Something
like that.
He's no
23,
longer
24.
as younger. Yeah.
He's not, he always had that. Even when Milan won the Scudetto, there was always that. He's 25.
Yeah, 25.
When Milan won the Scudetto, there was always that, like, okay, let's see if this victory kicks this guy on, because even though he was the best player, there was, like, you still had these thoughts, but he was so young that you thought, okay, maybe now that he actually is a champion, maybe now he will evolve. And I think he was very, very good this season. I think he was underrated how good he was this season that just passed. But I don't know, man. I grew up watching Thierry Henry absolutely rip the Premier League to shreds, and I see everything in Rafael Leao that tells me that he could be like that if he wanted to.
Yeah, he's a victim of his own raw talent, man.
Yeah.
That's it. It's so clear that he can fucking destroy teams if he's his head there, man.
My best player, this I haven't gone the same route as you guys, as the same one as my winners or whatever, but I think this is a mental one.
Again.
DeMarco, no. I think, so you know how it has been no debate to anyone in the world that the best young player in the world right now is Bellingham, because Real Madrid, Champions League, England national team, very, very fucking marketable. And so many people are sleeping on Musiala because he's not consistently been put on the same stage and the same marketability as Bellingham. I think with them two being put on the same stage now, in the Euros competition, Musiala is going to think, okay, this is my fucking opportunity. I had it in the Champions League. I didn't get it in the Champions League. It was taken from me. It was robbed with that last-minute decision. Now is my chance for Germany. And I think Musiala is going to have a fantastic tournament.
Good shot.
I mean, he's insane. I haven't seen a guy dribble. I haven't seen a guy dribble like that in a long, long time. Yeah, he's good. I don't think he's as good as Jude Bellingham. I'm definitely a Bellingham stan. Just some of the goals that he scored this season for Real in crucial moments. The goal that he scored in the first Clasico where he just smacked it from outside of the box. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I didn't know that he could do that.
Yeah,
That
And
was
the goal
part of
against
his.
Napoli as well, bro. He scored a great goal against Napoli. Just took it from the center circle himself,
and the confidence on this kid, man. Like,
Yeah.
the
bro.
fact that he walks up to the bloody fans at Real, he owns that club. You know, he
He
walked in
does,
as
bro.
a
They're
20-year-old.
they're singing "Hey Jude" for 90 minutes,
he
bro.
goes
He's
up to the
so
fans
cool.
and does this,
You
like,
saw that young supporter. So he did his classic celebration, and that young supporter is giving him the finger, and Jude looks at him directly, points at him, blows a kiss to him. It's he's so like. I hate this whole he's so cold, but he's freezing,
cold.
bro. He's
Man's
cold.
got aura.
He's cold as hell.
Yeah.
And did you see? I'm gonna say something, guys. They released these photos of him modeling, where he's juggling a football shirtless. He's fucking beautiful as well.
Be careful with that mustache.
He's a good looking guy as well.
He is. My friend sent me that photo yesterday because I put a video on Instagram about the top 3 knobs appearing at the Euros, and my friend said to me, "Oh, you don't forget about Gareth Southgate and every single member of the England national team." And I said, "Oh, I don't know, man. I kind of like Jude." And then he was like, "Okay, we'll see." And then an hour later, that he sent me that photo, and he's like, "How do you feel now?" To be honest, I feel better about it now.
I like him more, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so that we can do the quotes.
Dark horse, I put Hungary because I think they're on the right trajectory. They had a really good campaign last year. They're solid defensively. I think they'll have a good campaign, and the group is actually doable. They can finish second or go to
there's Scotland and Switzerland, apart from Germany.
And Scotland are kind of there.
My dark horse, I know that you have them as one of yours, Anthony. My dark horses are Turkey. I think Montella has been doing a good job with them. I think they've got a lot of talent, even from the Turkish league. Okay, I've got an FM with Trabzonspor, so I know a few players, but there's like Kadioglu, who's this left back for Fenerbahce that everyone in Europe wants right now. And there's a lot of talent that goes under the radar. There's Yildiz, there's Çalhanoğlu. I think they have a chance at a really, really strong campaign, man, Turkey.
Yeah, fair enough.
I agree. That was one of those hard decisions for me, because all I want is for Kenan Yildiz to just ball and for the world to go, who the fuck is this guy? The way we've been going, who the fuck is this guy all season? But they've also got Arda Güler from Real. They've got Çalhanoğlu is he's one of the best midfielders in the world. As much as I'm sure you guys dislike him, and I kind of dislike him too. But apparently he's a great guy.
From what I've seen in interviews, he comes across as a very kind and sweet, gentle person.
I sent you that article, bro, but like the one that he got threatened with a knife towards his knees, with the Turkish national team. His teammates were telling him like, "Oh, we're gonna rip your tendons off," because him or his friend fucked around with the girlfriend of another Turkey player. And do you remember when Hakan hadn't represented Turkey for around 2 years? It's because he was threatened by his teammates that they were going to kill him, essentially. There's a really cool article on it, on this that I'll send to you after this. But so he seems like a gent, but then you hear these stories and you're like, okay, he's a footballer at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah. Do you know who I love as well? Because I'm cognizant of the time, but I will never not love Mary Demiral. I just love that guy. I love him. He's one of those sweetheart looking guys. I always thought he didn't get a fair shake at Juve. He wears number 28 because his mom died and that was her birthday. Like he's awesome. And I hope they do well just for him.
Okay.
And are they your main dark horses? Because I think you had another team as well, Ukraine.
I said Ukraine too, because another sentimental pick, but I hope for the morale of the people in that country that they have a really good tournament, because there's nothing like your football team doing well to just raise the spirits of the people, and I just hope that they do, and they've got some really good players.
Yeah,
I
but
want-
they've got Mudryk and Zinchenko. Mudryk is actually, I know he hasn't hit it off in the Prem, but that's because
Super.
they got him from Shakhtar Donetsk, and he was competing against rubbish. But it's clearly a time thing. It's an investment. He's going to be a fantastic player.
I
Mudryk.
agree.
He's going to be
I think he's a
super.
monster. I think he's
Yeah.
a monster. They've also got Sudakov, who has been linked
Mm.
to Juve and Napoli, who seems like a really good player. Tsigankov, and Dobrik, both who played for Girona, who made the Champions League. So they got some players.
Yeah.
Zeki Celik as well, is there? Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we should move on because
There's one more, I think, underperformers, no?
I put Spain.
I put
I
Belgium.
think Spain will struggle to score.
I think
they'll dominate
Belgium-
their old possession. They'll be like an Italiano. So
I think Belgium are like a more marketable.
Today, bro.
It's true. I love the word marketable. I think Belgium are more marketable Serbia. I think they a bunch of good players they just don't play well together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And their golden generation's
Mhm.
old of shit now. The
And-
Bruins like, we're tired.
And Lukaku's dumb, man. He's dumb.
Fucking Lukaku. I actually am kind of so I've stated I said Portugal, and I've made my case for that with Ronaldo earlier, but I kind of really like both of your picks for underperformers. First of all, Spain being an Italiano side, Jake, is just perfect. You're right. You're 100% right. That's what they did in the last two tournaments. They just kicked it around, didn't do much, and the scapegoat is poor Alvaro Morata, who's a
Yeah, up
really,
front,
yeah.
really good player. It's not his fault. They're just shit, and I hate their coach. I hate their coach so much, so much.
Del Fuentes or
De La Fuente.
Yeah.
I hate him.
Mm.
I hate him. He's like best friends with the other Luis, Rubiales, the guy the FA president who kissed Jenny Hermoso in the medal ceremony in the Women's World Cup.
Yeah. The guy he got a bunch of backlash.
He kissed a woman on the mouth for
and
that.
during the celebrations was kissing them.
Yes, that fucking weirdo.
Creepy guy.
Yeah, and so he did a speech to the Spanish FA when they were calling for him to resign, and his speech was basically I ain't fucking leaving, Wolf of Wall Street speech, right? And Luis de la Fuente, who's good friends with him, the Spain coach, led a standing ovation after this speech. Yeah, he's a douchebag, bro. He's
Yeah, we're anti-Spain this campaign for sure.
Yeah,
Italy
fuck
are in their
it.
group. That's gonna be nice. We're gonna give it to them.
Yeah, Scamacca hat trick. Done.
Exactly.
Meet me in the car park, Luis. My dad's waiting for you.
Yeah, exactly. Dad's outside, bro. He's holding a baseball bat. Yeah. So I think we can move on. So first of all,
You want to say before you get into that what happened with Gotti?
yes, bro. Have you heard about what happened with Gotti and Lecce?
No.
So Gotti and the team, I guess they were in a hotel or something, and a fire broke out.
There were lightning strike, and
the fire started, and apparently the sporting director was asleep and he didn't realize what was happening, and Gotti woke him up and essentially saved his life.
he broke into his room, I believe.
I'm not sure how it was. Yeah, he definitely saved him though. He would have continued sleeping.
At that point, I would just
And apparently,
evacuate, man.
Yeah, the door caught fire shortly after.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
Something like that. I'm not sure how much of this is being exaggerated by the media, but people are photoshopping Gotti holding a corpse and running out of a burning building. It's hilarious. Yeah.
That's it.
Gotti legend.
Good guy, yeah, Gotti legend. I'm sure Roberto D'Aversa is sitting there somewhere having tried to bash what did he got fired because he tried to bash one of the players from Salernitana, I think.
Yeah, he fought Henry.
He fought Thomas Henry.
He fought Thomas Henry.
Thomas Henry. Who hasn't fought Thomas Henry? I'm quite sure I fought Thomas Henry.
The 90th minute, he'll have a go at it.
Zanetti fought Thomas Henry.
Yeah. So, first of all, Kevin Lasagna. Can we all agree? Best footballing name ever. I saw you had a football podcast, Anthony, and I think it was in the bio, right? Something like Kevin Lasagna is the best Italian name or something.
Yeah. So my football podcast initially was called the Kevin Lasagna Appreciation Society. And it was just the premise of the podcast was just about the stupidest things in football, like the stupidest, funniest, weirdest things that have ever happened in football.
That sounds amazing.
But then I tagged Kevin Lasagna in it in my post initially, and I'm not sure if he personally runs his his social media, but he
Peter
untagged
Pizza runs his account.
It's too early in the morning for me to be hearing that kind of stuff, Matt. He untagged himself from my post. Like, I understand if you don't want to like, I understand if you don't want to follow back, I understand if you don't want to share, but to remove the tag so it doesn't even show up in your tagged shit.
Yeah.
Like when you've got 31,000 followers and you're Kevin Lasagna, I found that a little bit upsetting. So I changed the name of the podcast to the Mr. Sitter podcast.
Nice.
Okay, that's right. Okay, that's very clever.
But I haven't done it for a while because in the last World Cup, the Qatar World Cup, I made a pact that I was going to watch every single game, and that I was going to record a podcast live every single morning. So the games were all in Australia. The games were all at 11 p.m., 3 a.m., and then 6 a.m. And then I would record a podcast, like a half an hour podcast, every morning at like 8:39, and have it uploaded by 10 every single day.
Oh my God!
Amazing.
And it was great. It was so fun, but it took the life out of me. So I can't do it. I can't do it again.
And a one-man show, right?
One-man show, yeah.
That's impressive. That's impressive. That's
I don't know
impressive.
if you heard, but I had to do, I think, 2 episodes on my own. Bloody nightmare.
I remember.
You want someone to react, you know? So like say something funny, and I'm like, oh shit, I have to speak. I have to move on to the next thing, you know? Now I have a few quotes. Moving on because we're quite tight.
I've got 9 minutes.
Yeah. So let's start off with Massimo Ferrero. You can give your opinion on him shortly. I'm going to read a few quotes that I've prepared from the former president of Sampdoria, who has been seen, acting suspiciously in the crowd, pupils dilated, massive smile, crazy hair, like bewildered looking guy.
No, he's an absolute cokehead for sure, man.
Do you remember Eric Thohir of Inter, the former president?
Yes.
Yeah. Ferrero said that Filipino must leave immediately. Please note that Thohir is Indonesian.
That's the most Italian thing ever, though. Hey, man. Everyone's a Filipino.
Right, Filipino or something. On the prospect of joining the Italian Football Federation, he said, I would turn the FIGC into Disneyland. Let's just say I would bring some fun to it. I wish that happened.
Hey.
After a particularly poor performance by Sampdoria, probably when they had Quagliarella and Gabbiadini up front, he said, the team today played like a bunch of retirees from a nursing home.
Now keep in mind that the average age of their squad was actually very high. So
he was right. After a fight with De Laurentiis, he said he's just a big whiner. He should go back to making movies and leave football to those who understand it.
Bro, I say that every episode, like.
And then once he said, Sampdoria is as beautiful as my wife, but she needs a rich lover to take care of her properly. Thoughts on Pereira, Anthony?
Yeah, he's just one of those amazing characters. He's in the vein of like, do you guys remember Maurizio Zamparini, the Palermo president?
Yes, I don't remember any stories about him, but I remember his name.
I think he fired and hired the same 2 coaches 6 or 7 times within the same season in one Serie A season. It was Francesco Guidolin and Ballardini within the same season. He'd just
Oh
keep
my
sacking them and firing them, and like he was amazing. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any, but he was amazing for a few good quotes. I think with some of these crazy rich Italian presidents, you just stick the microphone in front of their face, and it's theater no matter what.
Yeah.
Literally, man, they're not media trained in the
Not
slightest.
even a bit.
They've just got a bit of fucking old school banter in them. It's like the whole Pullman de Troia.
Yeah. A bus full of pawns,
But
essentially.
literally.
Yeah, Berlusconi had said that to the Monza players. He's like, if you
Also,
beat Juve
some-
or Milan, yeah, you've got a bus
Some
full
of these Italian metaphors that they it's always got to be about a woman. It's
Always.
like you guys were talking about it a few weeks ago with Gasperini, who what did he say?
He
About
said,
Napoli were coming after him, and he's
Uh-huh.
like,
It's like
Um,
you're married with kids,
but a beautiful woman comes your way.
yeah, yeah. There was no need to tell us that you've considered adultery when talking about,
exactly.
you know what I mean? You didn't need to
Exactly,
say that, or
exactly.
like Cassano said, I knocked back Juve 3 times. It's like one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in the world, but I just can't get an erection for her.
That's amazing. That's
Man,
amazing.
I loved Cassano all his career, and then he started that podcast, and I've actually started to dislike him a lot since he's done that. I see the appeal in him, because he's unhinged, but man,
This is a crazy one. I had never heard this one before from Cassano. Okay, this is in his biography. So in his biography, he boasted that while he was at Real Madrid, he bedded between 600. No, that he had not when he was at Real Madrid in general. He bedded between 600 and 700 women by the age of 25, and he would sneak them up in his hotel room
respect.
while he was playing for Real Madrid. He said, I had a friend who was a hotel waiter. His job was to bring me 3 or 4 pastries after I had sex. He would bring the pastries up the stairs. I would escort the women to him, and we would make an exchange. He would take the girl, and I would take the pastry. Sex and then food. A perfect night.
I want to read this
Who
autobiography.
gave this
man.
guy the microphone? Everyone got it free.
I always find it funny when people talk about like how much sex they have, and I had sex, I started eating pastries on night when I was with Real Madrid. Like, all right, Cassano.
Another controversial one, 2012. During a press conference at Euro 2012, he said, if some footballers are queer, it's their problem. I hope there aren't any queers in the national team, but if there are, it's their problem. Like, what are you saying?
He's just a straight up villager, that guy. He's
Literally,
like,
man.
I like him in the same way that I like Donald Trump. I like you would never shake this guy's hand, but he's good for a laugh.
Comedy gold. It's comedy gold.
Yeah,
Trump is comedy gold.
As like with Cassano, I can not take him too seriously, unless he's talking about Milan. But I can decide not to take him too seriously and just find him amusing. You know what I mean? With Trump, I struggle to break that barrier because he literally was at least running of the biggest countries in the world. But I think we're reaching
the end here.
I'm fucking devastated that it's reaching the end. This was one of the most fun I've ever had on the show. So thank you very much, Anthony, for coming on. You're a top guy, and I strongly encourage everyone to check out Anthony Locascio's Instagram. And if any of you guys are listening in London, I know you have a show coming up in London, right, Anthony?
Yes, I'm doing my solo show on August 4th in the middle of London at a place called Wonderville. So if anybody wants to come and see me talk for an hour, having listened to me talk for 2 hours here with these two fabulous gentlemen, then come and check it out, London people. But yeah, I've also had like this. I can't tell you guys enough how much you've been my internal monologue when thinking about football for the last year. So not only is it surreal, but also just such a pleasure to like actually chat to you guys. This is so fun.
Much love, brother.
Well worth being up at this ungodly hour for.
We haven't even addressed that it's like 4 in the morning.
Hey.
It started at 3 a.m., right?
We also have a bit of a present
Yeah, we've got a
for
gift.
you.
It will have to be sent digitally, but yeah.
Move it a bit to the reflection.
Oh my god, I love it so much. I love it so much. Thank you.
Yeah, that's going to be the episode cover. It kind of looks like Messi, though.
It does look a bit like Messi. It does look a bit like Messi.
You know, weirdly, if I grow my beard out a little bit too long, it goes red, like kind of how like Messi's beard goes red, and I don't like that. I don't like that.
But when your beard doesn't match your hair, that's a bit of a red flag.
I'm pretty sure at this point I've got alopecia on my face, like, because this has never happened and will never happen, I think.
Yeah, we've got the opposite genes. Look at that.
We're just this essentially.
The magic of genetics, huh?
Yeah.
The beauty of testosterone.
Yeah. We're gonna let you go, Anthony, because there's 20 seconds left. Much love, brother. We'll stay in touch as we always do. And I can't wait to watch this back, man.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. I'll see you guys in a couple of months. We're gonna have coffee.
In a couple of months, yes.
Yes, sir.
And enjoy the gym. And if you have any advice on hemorrhoids, please do send them over, because Matthew's struggling. He can't sit properly right now. We're thinking of postponing show.
Oh, it's letting us.
Boys. We beat the system. We've destroyed them.
Hey.
Yeah, but now it'll ask us probably to pay if we want to download it.
Yeah. Let's
forget about
it.
Forget about it. All right.
Much love, Anthony. Thank you, brother.
You guys. This is awesome. We'll talk soon. Bye.
We'll talk soon. Ciao, ciao.